I know a boy whose name is Arnie. He's about to turn 18 and have a big party. I know a boy whose name is Arnie.
Before Leonardo DiCaprio would become one of the most in-demand and bankable film stars in the world, before Leo would make women's hearts beat a little faster the world over in films like Titanic and Romeo and Juliet, before he would be nominated for 5 Oscars but would miss out on a win each and every time, before he became one of Hollywood's most active environmentalists and put much effort into non-profit foundations for environmental causes, before he would date the world's most beautiful women and turn his bedroom hallway into the most walked runway in the world, before he photobombed 50 Cent sporting an epic beard and man bun. I just love that pic, I had to include it. Now Leonardo DiCaprio, he made a name for himself in an industry that's usually made up of family connections that go way back. He himself, well, he comes from humble beginnings and he managed to make it work with his boyish good looks, his tremendous talent, and his dedication to his craft. Now as a young boy, he was diagnosed with OCD. He found a calling in doing impersonations, and his parents, they fostered this talent and they began finding him a talent agent. But then he got fired from his first gig working on the Romper Room because he was deemed too disruptive. He pulled it together though, working his way up through shows like Rosanne and Growing Pains before getting into film. He began hanging out with other young actors including Connolly and Tobey McGuire, and they would call themselves the Pussy Posse. Yeah, and Leo, he was a huge hit with the ladies, but not so much the bar staff because he was notoriously cheap. My name is Michael McCrudden, and welcome to Before They Were Famous, documenting the life of Leonardo DiCaprio prior to fame, here for you on Before They Were Famous. Now a lot of people have requested this one, so I hope you enjoy it. I do read all the suggestions in the comments down below, so as always let me know who you want to hear about next, and some popular recommendations like Tupac, Biggie, Capital Steez. Yeah, I'm working on those and they'll be coming out soon. Oh, also guys, I want to hear from you. What is your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film? For me, it's Catch Me If You Can, that or Blood Diamond.
Aeroplane way forward, grenade launcher.
Leonardo Wilhelm DiCaprio was born on November 11th, 1974 in Hollywood, California. The only child of Ermelin and George DiCaprio. Now his parents divorced when he was still a toddler, but Leo stayed close to both his parents. He was raised mainly by his mother, a legal secretary who was born in Germany. His father, a comic book artist and distributor, is half Italian and half German himself. Due to this heritage, young Leo, he learned to speak German fluently at a young age. As for the name Leonardo DiCaprio, well, his mother, while she was pregnant, she was in Florence, Italy, and she was at a museum staring at a Da Vinci photo when all of a sudden she got her first kick. All of a sudden the father, well, he took this as a cosmic sign. Diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, young Leo would get in trouble at school, and his parents urged him to find a passion and to explore his creative interests. It was at this time young Leo decided that he wanted to take a shot at acting. He loved imitating others, and one of his favorites was to draw a swastika on his forehead and run around the house pretending he was Charles Manson. Yeah, that's likely a skit his parents kept indoors, but they were still encouraging his performance, him wanting to be an actor, so they decided to set up meetings with talent agents in Hollywood. Leo's first agent insisted that he changed his name to something less ethnic, proposing the name Lenny Williams. The DiCaprio family, they decided, yeah, that wasn't for them and they were going to push forward regardless. And eventually young Leo, he began booking work in commercials and in television, but he had a lot to learn.
And he would like beat him, so he had to leave the house.
Excuse me, Leonardo, we don't want to reveal that whole
His first gig was on the television show Romper Room, but on that one, well, he got fired. He then began appearing in commercials, including one for toy cars. Following this, he booked guest appearances on shows such as The New Lassie and Roseanne. He also landed a role on the dramatic comedy Parenthood, which is where he met Tobey McGuire. He attended Seeds Elementary School and John Marshall High, and then he went on to Los Angeles Center for Enriched Studies. But in his third year, he would drop out because he was booking so much work as an actor. His big break came when he got a recurring role on the television sitcom Growing Pains, and from there, well, he had made it. He even got work in a film, low-budget horror film known as Creepers 3.
You're not as smart as you think you are.
He would go on to book more challenging roles and was praised by critics for his work in This Boy's Life because he was acting opposite Robert De Niro, and that guy, well, he's an acting god.
Here I am, you lucky people.
Do what?
People can call me anything they want as long as they don't call me late for supper.
What a dope.
In fact, it was Robert De Niro himself who handpicked Leo for this role over hundreds of other candidates.
You're in for a change, mister. You're in for a whole nother ball game.
Leo was then offered the role of Matt Dennison in horror comedy Hocus Pocus. With a leading role in a Disney film, he would have received more money than he could have ever dreamed of. But instead, he opted to take something that was a little more challenging. He went with the role of Arnie in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, playing a young boy who suffers with mental development issues, and well, he did a bang-up job.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I thought I couldn't do it. I was reading it and I was like, there's no way I can pull this off.
For this role, young Leonardo DiCaprio, he picked up an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor while he was only 19 years old. At this time, he was living at home with his mother, but he also began enjoying the highlights of fame and fortune. He was hanging out with buddies all over the town in LA and in New York. They called themselves the Pussy Posse as they would spend their nights chasing girls and partying. Members included Tobey McGuire, David Blaine, Lucas Haas, Kevin Connolly, Harmony Korine, Ethan Suplee, and a few others. Now at this time, Leo hadn't become a household name, but if he did take a trip to Times Square, well, he would create a fan frenzy of girls going absolutely crazy. Now the ladies did love him, but the people that worked in the nightclub industry, they were not a fan. Him and his buddies, they were notorious cheap tippers, and they would cause all sorts of problems. They would light stink bombs and do other childish acts. His next big project was in 1995 with the coming-of-age drama The Basketball Diaries, where he starred alongside Mark Wahlberg.
Marry the whore, marry the hairdresser.
You're not gonna waste the whole day lying around, are you?
I'm up. The loony alarm went off.
Now initially there was some tension between both Leo and Mark. The two of them, you know, well, Leo didn't like him. That's really actually what it was. Eventually they did rehearse a scene together and Leo was like, oh, this guy's more than some wannabe bad boy rapper. I can work with this. And they got along just fine. And for the record, I have done it before they're famous on Mark Wahlberg. Be sure to check it out. Leo's next big project was Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, and to secure this role, Leo flew himself to Australia to hang out with the up-and-coming avant-garde director. Following the release of this film, Leonardo DiCaprio was a solidified household name. His poster was on every girl's bedroom, his face in every girl's locker, and yeah, he had a lot of lovers all over the world. Like figuratively and probably in real life. You know. Upon the film's release, James Cameron was set to produce the world's most expensive film ever made at that time. Yeah, Titanic.
I'm the king of the world!
But executives attached to Titanic, they wanted Matthew McConaughey in the lead role, but James Cameron, he wanted Leo. And he worked hard to convince him. But Leo didn't want it. Initially he's like, I don't want to play another love interest, and he was interested in doing another film known as Boogie Nights, but eventually James Cameron convinced him to go down with the ship.
I'm the king of the world!
Now he didn't move out of his mother's house until a month before Titanic was in movie theaters all over the world. And by then, well, he was definitely a household name. Oh yeah, and while filming that movie, he had a pet lizard, and he would bring it with him all over set. Weird, I know. And the rest of the story, well, you know the story because this is before they're famous. My name is Michael McCrudden, thanks for checking out my personal channel. I do all sorts of celebrity bios on here. I've done Mark Wahlberg, I've done Eminem, I've done Russell Brand, I've done Jim Carrey, I've done Seth Rogen, I've done Will Ferrell, I've done a whole lot of rappers, I've done some adult film stars, I've done some YouTubers. There's definitely something for everybody. So be sure to browse the channel, hit subscribe, I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh yeah, let me know who you want to hear about next and your favorite Leonardo DiCaprio film. Alright, bye.
Are you Chris? You get for pay me first for them.